Hi, my name is Jerry. I've been a gamer for as long as I can remember and play multiple genres throughout my life, from FPS like The Finals to competitive fighting games like Street Fighter 6. I also enjoy a lot of indie games. In fact, I play more indie games nowadays and continue to be amazed with them. Look, here's like 3 videos I made about them too. But in today's video, I want to talk about this particular game. One that was made locally here in Malaysia, which is called Upin and Ipin Universe. This game had an interesting potential to tap into the Southeast Asian market, but ended up causing not only Malaysians, but also Indonesians to band together to show their frustration. I will be covering this video in multiple parts. What is Upin and Ipin? The game's technical aspects, the Q&A video and its controversies, and of course, my final thoughts. Upin and Ipin is a popular children's show created by Les Copa Productions that started back in 2007 and is currently the longest running animated series on Malaysian television. The show is about Upin and Ipin, twin brothers who lost their parents while they were still a baby, living with their older sister Rose and their grandmother whom they called Opa at a fictional Kampung Durian Runtuh. Being a children's show, it focuses a lot on family, growing up, and the Malaysian culture as well. The show is so popular that it won several awards and acknowledgements throughout its existence. From the Malaysia Book of Records in 2011, UNICEF Malaysia's National Ambassador in March 2013 for 2 years, and even has a crossover character in the Ultraman series as Ultraman Reboot, which is officially recognized as a canon character. The show was also released around the same time in Indonesia and has also been praised very well aside from a few controversies. Overall, the show was pretty successful for not only Malaysia but also in Indonesia, spawning several movies, merchandise, among other things as well. Moving into Upin and Ipin Universe, in February 2024, it was announced that the game was in development since 2023 and was co-developed by Streamline Studios. It is stated that 15 million ringgit was invested for the game. It was supposed to be released in 2024 but was delayed due to technical issues which pushed the game's release date to July 17, 2025. Quick note here, as of writing, the game had its first patch, but what you're seeing in the footage is based on the 1.0 patch. Let's start with the technical side of things. Upin and Ipin Universe runs on Unreal Engine 5 and the first thing I checked was the graphics settings. It already had several issues that baffled me. For starters, the game runs at 30 FPS with the quality settings by default. I'm not sure why this was the case, but let's continue. The game also does not have any other upscalers like AMD's FSR or Intel XeSS, so tough luck I guess? Then what in the world are these sliders? Why is the model detail a slider instead of the standard low, medium, high? What does each bar mean for both the model slider and the resolution scale? In terms of performance, I managed to get an average of 90 to 120 FPS but felt very stuttery, perhaps due to the lack of shader compilation, so the game does it on the fly. I was running this on an i5 12400F with 32 gigs of RAM and an AMD RX 9600 XT. Absolutely overkill, but the stutters made it very annoying. The game looked fine. It tried to be as close as the show's looks, in which lumen lighting helped tremendously but at a cost of performance. I did turn it off once and I was able to immediately tell that the game would look extremely flat without it, so I keep it turned on. There were plenty of ghosting artifacts found during my time in the game, which is a common problem in Unreal Engine games in recent years. Oh, and the control scheme for the gamepad is messed up at the time of this video. I was using a controller that uses the Xbox's X input, but the game was showing PlayStation prompts with no way to change them. Fantastic. As for the gameplay, boy, I have never played a game so open-worldly yet lifeless at the same time. Apparently, you're supposed to talk to the residents around, helping out with tasks, and have fun in the world. But there were no guidance, no key quest, or anything to follow around. You're expected to figure it out and have fun. This is not the way to do it. If the game was designed primarily for kids, you need to show the kids how things work from A to Z through clear visual cues and patterns. The Super Mario series have done this for decades at this point. If I couldn't figure out the actual goal of this game within the first 10 minutes of the game, how would the kids do the same? First impressions are very important, and the game already failed at it spectacularly. I ended up running around, riding the bicycle to explore, trying out some mini games that I stumbled upon by accident, and also broke physics here and there because of how easy it was to do so. Here's one where I was easily able to cause Upin to get stuck in a T-pose on the bed and let me walk all the way to the pond. Here's another one where I was able to manipulate the ramp and let it flip above a tree. Or maybe this one where I can use the RC car to carry Upin until the game forcefully stops. By the way, they are not even holding a remote control, which honestly should have been added to give some kind of immersion. Here's one more where I can swim even though I wasn't in the pond. I did try to do at least a few quests, one involving collecting sunflower seeds, where I realized that collectibles are just lights on the ground instead of a model, so you ended up collecting other unrelated things until I completed it, while the interface slowly updates what item I was collecting. Then I go back in order to learn how to plant, which is fine I guess, only to find out that there's also another exact same quest by a different character instead. There was also an RC car minigame which worked as expected, a fishing minigame in which, good luck by the way trying to figure out where the rod is and trying to see where you're supposed to aim the rod and fish. Then there's the one where you're supposed to catch bugs, and since they're blurry as heck, good luck figuring that one as well. Oh, here's another bug where the camera decides to follow another character instead of what I am controlling at the moment. Overall, Upin and Ipin Universe as a game failed spectacularly in having a coherent experience that both kids and adults can play. There is no clear guidance on what I can do in this game world. There is no explanation on who the characters are. It's like you're expected to already know them, and the world feels lifeless even though there are collectibles and NPCs walking by. While the developers are trying to remedy a lot of the issues I have mentioned, it won't matter much if the core gameplay itself failed to hook me within the first hour. On July 25, 2025, Let's Go Pop Productions did a Q&A video in an attempt to address several issues that was raised from both Malaysians and Indonesians. It's a 12-minute video, but I will be covering significant ones that truly raised an eyebrow and anger from many, including myself. Windah Basudara is a popular Indonesian YouTuber and streamer with 17.2 million subscribers who streamed Upin and Ipin Universe on YouTube, garnering over, let me read this correctly, almost 4.7 million views. That's a lot of views for this game. What ended up happening is that Windah's stream got copyright struck, meaning Windah would not get any revenue from it. In the Q&A video, the head of creative director explained that this is due to the music being used in the game. She requested to either mute the in-game music or lower the volume. Additionally, Let's Go Pop would be working behind the scenes to solve the issue. I understand that with music, it is important to ensure that no one blatantly steals it, hence the copyright ID that is available on YouTube. Then wouldn't it make sense to have a streamer mode to begin with? Why wasn't this included in the first place? This is a standard practice for games nowadays, so for Let's Go Pop to just fumble this for some reason made it look terrible. Additionally, the apology, if you want to call it one, felt very insincere in my opinion. The way she apologized felt like it was just sweeping the problem under the rug instead of committing to fix the issue in an honest manner. To add on further, in the video, Let's Go Pop mentioned the use of streamer clips to promote the game as well, a win-win situation of sorts. Since their videos got copyright struck, it just meant that the company would get the revenue instead, while the streamers get nothing. As of this recording, they have removed all streamer clips from their shorts. Gee, I wonder why. In the same video, the creative director of Les Copa also addressed the game's pricing, which is $40 or 177 ringgit or 650k rupiah. He mentioned that the price is okay and not too expensive, while also mentioning support Malaysia with a heart sign and an effect on the screen. This is genuinely one of the most tone-deaf answer I have ever seen. How in the world did Les Copa justify the pricing of the game without also considering the region they were selling at? 177 ringgit or 650k rupiah is a lot of money for a game, and even for me, I will think many times before even considering buying it. You are not a AAA game company, and if you want to charge people at this price, then I also expect the game's quality to be the same. I can buy Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Hi-Fi Rush, Dave the Diver, It Takes Two at close if not cheaper than this game and have a genuinely wonderful time with it. News outlets Enmia Gaming and Kakucho Prey reported that Streamline Studios allegedly have yet to compensate retrenched employees that were laid off in early 2024, and recently in July 2025, the same issue was raised again by Enmia Gaming with new information on what has happened thus far. As quoted in the article, as of March 2025, Enmia Gaming has received more communications that the studio has not fulfilled its promise to pay back the missing EPF payments. Additionally, the article also states that this year, employees tell Enmia Gaming that not only had they have not been paid for their work done, the ability for them to get their money was tied to completing a second project pro bono. If these allegations are still true, based on the sources that I have read, then it raises significant ethical issues on how the developers were treated throughout the development of not only Upin and Ipin Universe, but other projects as well. Make of it what you will. 15 million ringgit invested into a game that looked like it was made by people who have never developed a game in the first place. It is technically flawed from top to bottom. It had a horrible pricing scheme that Les Copa themselves thought it was fine. It was also banded both Malaysians and Indonesians together to actively express their anger towards Les Copa due to how terrible their response is towards the copyright issue and the use of clips from streamers. And finally, allegations from Streamline Studios that are still ongoing with seemingly no end in sight. This game itself is a disgrace to its own series. It had potential to be something uniquely Malaysian, and it fumbled right out of the door. It is also a disgrace to many young talents who are actively trying to develop games and share them to the world. We have Level Up KL as a prime example of it, and I have seen and played multiple games that had potential. It is sickening to see because of this game, Malaysia's reputation is being tarnished over and over and over. It could have been something great. It could have been something that is being celebrated, and instead, people are just mocking it for the right reasons.